ever recorded. Right now, 149 million Americans are under heat advisories, with some hard-hit cities desperate for relief, like Phoenix, which has seen temperatures topping 110 degrees for an entire month. The extreme heat this summer has also led to severe storms and devastating wildfires. There's no doubt these are manifestations of climate change, and the UN Secretary General says this new normal is here to stay.
Climate change is here, it is terrifying, and it is just the beginning. The era of global warming has ended, the era of global boiling has arrived.
Joining me now, Baughman McLeod. She is the director of the Adrienne Arsht Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center at the Atlantic Council. Kathy, welcome back to the show. Thank you for coming here. You have advocated for naming heat waves similar to how we name hurricanes or wildfires. How do you think that will help cities and nations manage and keep people safe during extreme heat events?
One of the biggest things that challenges us is that heat is silent and invisible. And so unlike hurricanes that have the drama and the palm trees blowing sideways, or floods with the cars in the streets, or fires, they're very dynamic and they're telegenic. Heat is invisible and silent. And so it needs branding and PR. But what we're also advocating is that it be based on a health-based categorization or ranking system, just like hurricanes are. And so we would know that this is the expected health effect on people, and it gets a name so that it has a brand. And in our early evaluations of our pilot program in Seville, Spain, it works. People pay attention, they do more to prepare, and they trust the government's advice on what to do to protect themselves.
So how are you measuring that success?
We did a survey before and after heatwave Zoe was named last summer. And Zoe, when people remembered the name, they could say we did more to prepare. And when they remembered the name, they also said we trusted the government's advice. And so we did a pre-survey and a post-survey, and we'll be putting that out for everyone to see. And then we also look at all of the data to understand what is the health effect of this particular community, combined with not just the temperature, but nighttime temperatures and humidity and cloud cover. Those things are really important when you think about the health effects of heat.
And so then what are some of the criteria that would take say a regular hot day or a series of days and bump it up to getting a name like Zoe?
Well, it's 3 days in a row. And again, nighttime temperatures are really important because we don't rest and we don't clean our brain and we wake up tired and make mistakes. And there's all sorts of economic effects of that. And so over the 3-day time with all of those conditions, we have an algorithm that tells us that this is really dangerous. And so we can predict in terms of percentage increase of expected mortality. And so how many more deaths do we expect given these conditions over the last 3 days? And when it gets to a certain level, we say this thing needs a name and it needs all the PR and all of the media it can get.
How do you pick the names before I ask you a serious question next?
Well, we did a lot of focus groups. And so we want the name to be right for the community, for the region. And so those names we start with Z so that they don't cross over with A. You know, as we start with hurricanes.
And do you go backwards?
And we go backwards. So Zoe was first, Yago was next, Xenia was the next one. And so we pick names that are memorable but not too wacky and that reflect the region.
So the UN Secretary General Gutierrez, who we showed in the intro, he had his admonition, and it was pretty stark, and I want to read it again. The era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived. That not only applies to air temperatures, but also to ocean temperatures. There's a new study that warns of the possible collapse of ocean currents because of climate change. And we're also seeing because of the ocean in Florida is at 100 degrees and bleaching the coral. What's it going to take to reverse the effects of climate change, or are we too far gone?
Well, we have gone too far to pull back on some of the effects, and the temperatures that we're experiencing now, we will see for 30 years, no matter what we do. we need to stop burning fossil fuels, period, full stop, that's it. We have to get off of fossil fuels. And the bleached corals, the fires in the Caribbean, collapsing tourism industries, and the worker productivity losses, and the buckling runways. I mean, this is only going to get worse. And we have El Nino, that weather effect that has the heat even worse. And so we have to stop burning fossil fuel, period.
And yet, when temperatures go up, people run their air conditioners, they do all sorts of things. And running air conditioner is not a good idea either.
Well,
in terms of its impact on the environment.
Yes, and there's also waste heat that comes off of an air conditioner, and then also the power that powers the air conditioner.
Right.
So
right.
We are in a vicious circle, and so there is lots of effort to make air conditioners cleaner and greener. There are many things that we can do to make it cooler without power. Passive cooling, it's called. Lots of nature-based solutions, and the way when we work, where to work, the way we build our buildings, our cities, all sorts of things we can do about it. But we have to start right now, and we have to get our arms around how big it is, because we just don't have that sense yet.
Mm-hmm. And I asked that question because there is a story in the paper today, big as the Washington Post, about how these incredible heat waves that we're going through around the world is leading to an increase in the use of fossil fuels.